Action Task Force is the global watchdog that deals with terrorism, counter-terrorism, and money laundering. You begin to ask, if Nigeria is making such lists, and this money goes into the respective state government in terms of security vote, it implies that the money is not being judiciously used. Because otherwise, spending that amount of money would have addressed the security concern.
Now, my question is, we're talking about accountability. Could there not be a review of the Constitution where the contingency fund, which is what you call the security vote,
wide vote,
yeah, there should be some sort of second body independent of the executive, so that the executive might not be able to influence the checkmating what those governors use those contingencies fund for. For instance, aside insurgency, you know, where you have kidnapping, banditry, and what have you, then you talk about maybe national disaster. What actually do they use those contingency fund for that cannot be specified boldly in the Constitution, so that when such of this nature are not happening, someone should be checking what the governors are claiming they are using such contingency fund for?
Let me answer it from this angle first. Your first concern has been addressed by the Constitution as to an agency to checkmate it.
Independent?
Yes. If you see this Nigeria Financial Intelligence Unit that was under Efcc before they removed it from Efcc, they have a responsibility to, in fact, all the financial institutions, they are under obligation to report to Nigeria Financial Intelligence Unit any suspicious transaction.
Okay.
It was on that basis they got information about 150 trillion I just mentioned. It depends on what the agency is able to make, how they're able to make use of the information, or whether they have the willpower to confront those persons who may be involved in this financial recklessness. Then again, if you are looking at check and balance, National Assembly have the power, apart from making laws, they have right of oversight.
Okay.
Any area where National Assembly appropriate fund, because they have right of appropriation, the power of appropriation. Any area where they appropriate fund, they have right to question how the fund is being managed. But unfortunately, how often, how active is National Assembly alive to that responsibility of oversight? If you assign fund to build a health center, and you see that the lifespan of that administration is winding down, or the lifespan of that budget is winding down, the fund have been released, and there's nothing to show on ground that the project is being executed. National Assembly, through the relevant committee, have right to go and question the ministry that is supposed to execute that project, and even ask Mr. President to even sack the minister if the minister is not forthcoming in delivering on the project. Don't forget that under this administration, we are seeing a situation where, under the leadership of Saraki as the head of the National Assembly, where National Assembly indicted a former secretary to federal government over an allegation of that has to do with grass issue.
Grass cutting.
Though I'm not trying to vilify the man, because I can understand that court have cleared him recently. But what I'm trying to make is, National Assembly then stood their ground upon their investigation and demanded that federal government should sack the man in question. Though the federal government did not sack him until they inaugurated their own committee. But what I'm trying to say in essence is, it was the pressure from National Assembly that made the federal government to sack him. Though the court have vindicated the man as we speak. What I'm trying to say in essence is,
that's Babachir.
yes, court have vindicated him recently. But what I'm trying to say in essence is the potency, the power of National Assembly, that they are not utilizing it. That your concern have been addressed when it has to do with check and balances in the system.
Or is it a case of off your mic? Because most times we know that when they investigate, they are usually culpable too.
There may be the scenario of off your mic. We only got to know about the off your mic because that one came to the public.
That's what I'm saying. That it may be because they know that there are cases of is it minister or there's a name they called him minister off your mic. Is it minister?
No, I think he was a chairman of committee.
Yes, but okay. Anyways.
Okay. Yes.
Honorable.
Honorable, thank you. Honorable off your mic. So there's this, showing Wale Soyinka, the Nobel laureate, calling for restructuring, saying that President-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu should either restructure or prepare to fail. And, connecting that with this issue of security votes, you would wonder if perhaps we should go the way of looking at state police and ensuring that these state governors perhaps have some form of control over the security apparatus in their different states, and also looking at cases where they work with vigilantes, like we see some governors-elect already promising, saying that they would work with vigilantes and ensure proper security of the citizens of their state. Do you think that perhaps going that direction, I know that that word has been bastardized and given different interpretations from different quarters, but majorly, most of the people calling for it have said that state police, community policing is the way to go?
To be quite honest with you, all crime is local. To that extent, community policing is a sine qua non if you want to address insecurity in Nigeria. But unfortunately, once you get to the center, it becomes once you become the president, nobody wants to divulge power, because they feel that you are in charge, and if you reduce the power, that it may reduce your influence on the system. Don't forget that even as we have seen Amateku in the southwest here, we saw Ibubago. I think Ibubago have been disbanded also.
How effective is even Amateku?
The problem is this. You needed to confront criminals who are bearing AK-47. And police or the federal government through Nigerian police have consistently maintained that those security architecture at the state level cannot be armed. And even if you need to acquire arm, to buy arm, you need an end user certificate that will be issued from the Office of National Security Advisor.
But the Northern JTF bear arms, don't they?
I think they get it directly from the military. I think so, because they synergize and work directly with military. That is where Nigeria need to balance it, because if you can train civilian JTF and they are doing great things, working in synergy with the military, combating terrorism, and we are not seeing any area where they have become a threat to national unity. In the same vein, I think they should, to an extent, trust the state governors to allow the state security arrangement to be armed. But looking at Wole Soyinka's assertion, I think I totally agree with him, because you must restructure this country. And when you talk about restructure, it has to do with so many things.
Exactly.
And if you're looking at
center,
the recent bill assented to by Mr. President, I think it is in the right direction. Particularly the one that has to do with the state government having the liberty and power to generate power and transmit power and all that. Because before now, you have a situation where power is in the exclusive list. Now it has been moved to concurrent list, meaning the state houses of assembly can legislate over it, and the states on their own can generate power for the benefit and economic good of the state. So I think the state should start from there. They should leverage on that, because there are so many, particularly this issue of security. I think that is the area the incoming government should critically look at. How best can they synergize with the state governments, with the state governors, vis-a-vis the security arrangement already in place at the state level. Like I mentioned, the Amateku, you have the Ibubago in the southeast, maybe you can have the civilian TF in the north. How best can you make use of those security personnel so that if they bear arm,
even the local vigilantes,
because if you give them arm, it should be under the supervision of maybe the commissioner of police, or but there should be a way of controlling them. Yes, I think that is the area the federal government is afraid of. I think federal government is looking at it may lead to secession. People may, if you arm people, that they may start agitating to secede. But I think that fear should be jettisoned, because we have seen how JTF is working. Nobody is talking about issue of abusing the use of arm. And if those security arrangements at the state level could be made to be submissive to the the Commissioner of Police in a way, And if they have their commandant should always report to the Commissioner of Police, and those personnel should be trained by the police and military.
Well, there have been different connotations to that lack of, or that statement by the IGP saying that the Constitution does not permit the Amotekun to bear arms, and saying that perhaps there's some form of nepotism in it, but we don't want to go into all of that because we're really pressed for time. But
no, even if you are not going to, even if you say the Constitution do not permit them, if it is a necessity, can't we amend the Constitution and empower them to bear arms? If that is what we need,
Constitution amendment.
If that is what we need to address this security.
Indeed. Well, let's not go into all of that. As I said, excellent contribution as always, Matthew Oluku, Public Affairs Analyst. Thank you so much and have a great day.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure.
We'll take a break now. We'll be back with the Personal Finance segment. Don't go anywhere.